Thanks to all of you that submitted your questions for this hashtag WWE 2013 Q&A. All questions pertaining to the year that's been in 2013 for the WWE. The topic of the next Q&A is going to be hashtag TNA 2013, so you know the drill. If you want your questions about TNA in 2013 answered for the next Q&A, take to Twitter now, after you watch this video, of course. Tweet your hashtag TNA 2013 questions to @OffTheRopeShow and give @OffTheRopeShow a follow if you don't mind. Let's get started with this one, though. @Piznik64. How would you book a match between Sin Cara and Psycho Sid and Kevin Nash? Bottom line is you just put a table and a ladder, and you make sure you mix in some second rope moves and things that could potentially tear patella tendons when somebody's running, that could break a leg off the second rope, that could tear quads just by walking. You do all of that stuff, and you just let them go. You let those three lions just go at it. How would you book them in a 3-on-3 with Angle, Swagger, and Shamrock? Well, it's kind of funny because maybe you would sit there and have Shamrock stand in place and then have Sin Cara run, and then you put Sin Cara out via submission because of tearing his patella tendon. You have Kevin Nash face off with Swagger, and then maybe Swagger looks at him real mean and Nash tears his quad, and then Angle gets Sid on the second rope, and then the rest is history. @WWE South Africa, do you think the WWE made a mistake by not bringing Karma back in 2013? Maybe, but I'm sure there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, and there are reasons why they didn't. I understand that. What match or moment made you mark out the most in the WWE this year? It's always Undertaker winning at WrestleMania, period. @Koinonia79, I hope I got that right. What do you think was the best moment of the year in WWE? For me, it was Undertaker beating CM Punk at WrestleMania, period. Because it did elevate CM Punk. It established him, I feel, as a top guy for sure, legit, 100%, and Taker won. And the streak continues. 21-0, bitch. @Ruck Fools for Life. Why do you think Rock Cena 2 at WrestleMania 29 was not as impactful as the previous match at WrestleMania 28? One, you could say because they had already wrestled before. Two, because it's not like the WrestleMania 28 match was a thing of beauty. Three, Rock had already wrestled at Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber against CM Punk. Four, maybe people, they just don't like John Cena that much and they aren't feeling The Rock in this capacity. A lot of different reasons, I think. @Bima the Cashman, did 2013 have a big storyline like 2011 or 2010? You thought maybe it was going to be Daniel Bryan versus The Authority, but that kind of fizzled away, unfortunately. Only one he could think of, he says, is Daniel Bryan versus Triple H, but then never finish. And yeah, you're exactly right. I kind of agree with that. I don't think this really had a truly massive storyline. @Air458, who did you expect to be a world champion in 2013 or even a mid-card title holder? Ryback, I thought, was going to be a world champion in 2013. And by this point in time, I would have thought somebody in the Wyatt family would have held a belt of some kind. @BW Roses, what do you think of the top 5 best and worst booking decisions by the WWE in 2013? Worst booking decisions would include, in no particular order, we'll focus on the worst ones here. Going where they went with the Big Show, but never really following up on it. Kind of cutting the legs out from under the Daniel Bryan versus Triple H and Randy Orton feud before that was really over. Turning Ryback heel for no dumb dick reason at all. Not doing more with the Shield. It got to the point where it was just they appeared, wrestle, and left. There wasn't really a lot of character development there in 2013, frankly. I'm sorry, I know a lot of you like the Shield, but you have to admit and respect the fact of what I'm saying is that it's true. They didn't develop those characters a whole lot. The other major worst booking decision of 2013, some might say Ziggler having a short world title run, but I will go with Damian Sandow cashing in and losing the briefcase. That was pretty bad. @WWE ZD14, what month was the worst month this year? It might have been November. @Y2 Jackass, what was Triple H's greatest moment this year? Turning on Daniel Bryan and pedigreeing his ass at SummerSlam. And he said, Pedigree and Bryan beating Lesnar or Bret Hart giving him 4 out of 10. And you could say Triple H beating Lesnar at WrestleMania 29, hey, You know, that's a pretty big deal. If I heard Bret Hart giving him a 4 out of 10, oh, come on, Bret, get a life. At Willie_Haywood3, what do you think is the worst match of the year? I think it might have to be Randy Orton versus Big Show at Survivor Series. That was just plain bad, period. Let's move on to the next set of questions. It's at Hayes O'Keefe, which pay-per-view match disappointed you the most? John Cena versus Randy Orton at TLC. At Sterniker, if you could have changed 3 things this year in the WWE, what would it have been? Go all the way with Daniel Bryan. Stop waffling with Triple H and keep them heel and make them a real authority figure, not one that's trying to still establish that they're the top dogs by underhanded comments and, just trying to position themselves in the righteous position. And then 3, I wouldn't have turned Ryback heel. At the Real Big Man 93, do you think this year was one of the worst years for pro wrestling? One of the worst, maybe. It definitely is not the worst. I don't even think it's close to that. I think this is a better year than we saw in 2010 and 11 and 12. I do believe that. But, it wasn't great, but it definitely wasn't one of the very, very worst. I'll put it that way. At Rusty Gillespie 7, do you think it's right now WrestleMania ended? What? Let me rephrase that. Let's read the question right. Do you think it was right how WrestleMania ended with a predictable ending with Rock and Cena doing it Hogan style? Maybe. If they knew that there wasn't going to be a third match, then that's fine. You weren't going to sit there and have Rock beat John Cena twice. So that's just the way it was going to work. As far as the whole doing it Hogan style thing, whatever, I guess. At Jamie Ennis NZ, did Daniel Bryan get fucked over with his 2 short WWE title runs in 2013? Yes. And he says it was kind of like Christian in 2011, all fucking over again. It kind of was, in a way. Kind of was. I mean, you put Daniel Bryan in this spot only to instantly yank it away from him. That was kind of confusing to me. At KCCO_UK, what's your favorite feud of 2013? Favorite feud of 2013 in the WWE. Maybe Triple H versus Lesnar because I got Triple H 2 big-time pay-per-view pads. Just throwing it out there. At UltraPsycho_Trey, after SummerSlam, do you think the WWE just stopped giving a fuck about the booking of their pay-per-views? Actually, I thought the next couple of months after SummerSlam weren't all that bad. And in fact, I thought they were relatively good. It seemed like they got to Survivor Series and they had a brain fart, and then they got to TLC and they had a major brain fart and creative hiccup. At Matt Prod, which Rock pay-per-view match was the better of the 3? Royal Rumble versus CM Punk, Elimination Chamber versus CM Punk, or WrestleMania 29 against John Cena? I'll probably go with his first match against Punk at the Royal Rumble. At Anything Goes Show WWE asks, what's the one booking decision you would change? Ryback turning heel. And coincidentally, his next question, do you think Ryback will ever be a top guy after his bad year? Never say never, but it's not as easy to make him one as it should have been. At CandyLick21, if you could have The Rock fight anybody instead of Cena at WrestleMania 29, who would it have been? Maybe Undertaker, maybe Brock Lesnar. Do you think Damien Sandow should have cashed in on Cena, or he should have waited? Yeah, it should have waited. I don't see what the big rush was just to establish Cena, because you fucking needed to do that. And now where is Damien Sandow? Blowing in the breeze. No, there was no greater purpose than this other than making Cena look godly. And that's just dumb. After all these years of being in the top spot, and fuck the fanboys that sit there and try to defend this shit, if Cena can't survive on his own without having to have dumb shit like this happen, then what does that tell you about John Cena? Damien Sandow cashing in when he did not help him. It did not elevate him. Do not believe that bullshit. He couldn't even beat Biggie Langston for the IC title. Get the fuck out of here. I'm tired of when people sit there and try to say, based off the WWE's history in recent years of screwing everything up, that they say, oh, you got to let it play out, and you don't know. No, we know. They're going to fuck it up. Why? Because they always do. At Amir Y2J, 2013 had tons of great matches. Can you name your top 3 favorite matches of this year? There were quite a number of good matches this year. You're absolutely right. In terms of 3 favorites, I would probably go with Taker and Punk at WrestleMania 21. Triple H Lesnar maybe at Extreme Rules. And then maybe Bryan and Orton at SummerSlam. Maybe. At Scorpio. No, I'm sorry. Bryan and Cena at SummerSlam. I apologize. It was Daniel Bryan and John Cena at SummerSlam. The fact that Daniel Bryan pinned John Cena at SummerSlam. That has to be a favor. At Scorp 18 Talks Wrestling, if you were in charge, what would you have done differently this year in WWE as far as superstars and titles? As far as titles, if I was going to actually put Daniel Bryan in that spot, I actually would have followed up with it for a couple of months. Maybe done that. They did the right thing by finally turning both Triple H and Randy Orton full-blown heel. That was well overdue. I would have kept John Cena away a bit longer than 2 fucking months. He needed time off. We needed time off from him. The 6 weeks, 2 months was not enough time. That was stupid. They rushed it like they always fucking do. No patience. He needed a break. He needed a break to figure out what you're going to do with him other than the same old shit, and we needed a break from him. Wouldn't have turned Ryback heel, that's for goddamn sure. I would have done more to put the Shield in real deal feuds similar to the Wyatt family, but especially the Shield, done more to actually develop their characters and make them a more integral part of the show and not have them just do the same old shit of come through the crowd, wrestle, leave. That gets boring after a while. And how long would I have had Cena gone for after he got hurt? The earliest I would have brought him back would have been the Royal Rumble. How much was it really going to impact the business to have him gone another 2 months? Was it really going to impact it that bad? Is it so much better now that he's back? Is it really, truly that much better because he came back early? I don't think so. At World of Chelsea, who was the best? Who had the best debut in 2013 in the WWE? Bray Wyatt, Curtis Axel, or Fandango? Bray Wyatt. Which Slammy would you give to Smokey for 2013? Probably several. Sexiest cat of the YWC, sexiest cat. Or sexiest feline professional wrestling fan, smartest professional wrestling fan, WWE fan of the year. All of those would have been appropriate and so many more. He'd get a cheeseburger award for just because he fucking deserved it. At Comfy Burgess, who had a bad year in WWE this year, and also what was my favorite pay-per-view this year? Who had a bad year? Ryback had a bad year. Bad year. Ryback tops the list to me. I don't think Damien Sandow had a particularly good year, even after winning Money in the Bank. Yeah, not good. I don't know if I had a favorite pay-per-view this year, just to be honest. Maybe it's because I can't fully remember, but I don't really have one. At ALC 729, was Survivor Series 2013 the worst pay-per-view in Survivor Series history? No. Is it in that top 5? Maybe. Top 10 for sure. Top 5? Yeah, top 5 probably. Maybe even in the top 3 worst. It was not good. But would I say it's the worst? It wasn't good. I'll put it that way. It was really bad, frankly. At Ghost HPHM rounds out this Q&A and asks, where would Fandango be right now if he hadn't gotten injured and had won the IC title at Payback? Last time I checked, when does the IC title really make anybody a star anymore? He'd be in the same fucking spot he'd be in right now. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, as Triple T used to say, if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, easy for me to say, it'd be Christmas every day. Well, the bottom line is, even if he would have won the IC title, he had a meaningless 2 or 3 month reign, he'd be right back in the same fucking spot he is. They don't use those mid-card belts anymore to make stars. They're just props. They're just placeholders. It's an excuse to get guys on TV, but not really do anything with them. Again, remember, the subject of the next Q&A is hashtag TNA 2013, so go to Twitter now. Tweet your hashtag TNA 2013 questions to add Off the Rope Show. I'll see you later. Thanks for all of you that participated in this Q&A, and hopefully, 2014 will be better than 2013.